Also, he could have, you know, many other ace X types of hands here as well. So I think that at this stack depth, we just get it in. What did you do here? Okay, you got a hand for us, Nate?
Yeah, I do. So I got a pretty exciting one. So yeah, I'm from the Boston area, up playing in New Hampshire. So
Chasers?
I have, yeah, Chasers.
Okay.
Exactly. So I'm a little bit short here. I start the hand with 4-10. I just lost a big hand and hadn't topped off yet. So I have 4-10 here.
And this is 2-5, is that right?
That's right. It's 2-5 and we're 8-handed.
Okay.
And I go ahead and open pocket queens on the gun, so queen of spades, queen of diamonds.
Okay.
And I open to standard size of the game, so 15.
Okay. Oh, really? That's the standard size of the game? I know it's 1K cap, right? Or is it 500 cap? You can't buy in for more than 1K in New Hampshire, right?
That's right. So it's a 1K cap, but I know I was a little bit short here, so I opened to 15. I think a standard size is typically going to be like 15 or 20 in the game I was playing in. But yeah, so I opened to 15 on the gun, and then it folds around to the low jack.
Okay.
Who goes ahead and raises it to 65.
Okay.
My read on him is that he's a pretty solid villain. Seen him do some 3-bets earlier, show down some bluffs, show down some pretty good value bets. Currently playing pretty solid, not getting too out of line.
Okay.
So it seems like he's a pretty good villain. So it folds around back to me.
Mm-hmm.
And with 4-10 here, I think about putting in the 4-bet, but it's kind of an awkward size to just have that 4-10, so like the 80 bigs. So, and he chose a little bit of a larger sizing for his 3-bet, so he 3-bet to 65, which is a little bit over 4x. Mm-hmm. So I think about it, and I think if I 4-bet, I'd probably choose a sizing of something like, 170, 200.
Right. Well, you can't off of this stack, you can't 4-bet. You can't 4-bet call, right? I mean, excuse me, you can't 4-bet fold, really. So you decide to call.
Yep.
And by the way, we're going to do something that's kind of cool for the video if this one turns out well in a second, because we're going to look at this as a deep stack scenario as well. But let's go over this one first. So you make the call, and the pot is what, like 130 and change, maybe 135, right? And you've got queen, queen.
Yep.
I think that that's fine off of 80 stuff. You didn't open super large. And I just feel like I don't know how often like you're going to be doing well 4-bet getting it in. I mean, you open from under the gun, he's 3-betting you from the low jack. Where you might just happily get this in is like obviously in like a later position type of scenario, right? So I don't really have a problem with the call as the pot is now 135, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Okay.
I briefly considered just jamming the 4-10 in, but I thought that's just way too big, and he's never going to call me with like worse. He's probably going to fold jacks. So I thought flatting was best. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So go to the flop, Nate.
Yep. So the flop is going to be ace of clubs, king of diamonds, queen of clubs. Pretty exciting.
Ace of clubs, king of diamonds, queen of clubs.
Yep.
So you flop bottom set. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I'm out of position here. I think he definitely has, range advantage. He has all the best hands. He has, sets of aces, sets of kings. He might even have like 10 jack suited if he's 3-betting that, but that's a little loose. But I think it's best to just play as a check. So I go ahead and check here, and the villain goes ahead and bets 85.
So he bets 85. Okay. So 85, right? Okay.
Yep.
So what I would say here is that at this point, you're so shallow, right? You're so shallow, 85 in a call, that, the pot is going to be like 300. And once you had called like the 65, I would just get this in here. I would just get, I don't think there's really anything to be said here when you're this shallow. And I think that you can easily get called here by ace king, right? And what I want to do, and why I think this is interesting, and people are like, oh my God, this is so shallow, because I think you said that you were a Crush Live Poker subscriber, Nate. I want to sort of teach people, and if you haven't thought about this, the way to look at combos, very, very easy to do, and I think a lot of people don't understand it, right? So when you're looking at combos of hands, let's take a look at how many combinations of ace-king are left with an ace and a king that are on the board. So the way that you look at that is, if you're trying to figure out how many combos of ace-king are left, well, there are 3 aces and 3 kings left on the board here. So because one of the aces and one of the kings, obviously, there's 16 combos of total cards, but there's 4 of each card. What you're doing is you just multiply the cards that are left. So there are 3 aces left and 3 kings, and that means that there are 9 combos of ace king. Now let me ask you, Nate, this question, and I'll ask people who are following along in the live chat. Let's say that you get this board and someone else has ace king here. So someone else turns over ace king here. Going by what I just said, how many ace kings are left if there's an ace king on the board and somebody else has ace king?
Yeah, so you would have, there's 2 aces, right? No. So there's 1 ace on the board.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 1 in his hand. There's 1 that's shown. So there's 1 ace left, and then same thing for the kings, I believe. So
Well,
there's 1 combination.
No, there's
right?
2, right? There's one ace king on the board, right? And somebody else has ace king. How many aces and kings are left? If there's 1 ace king on the board and somebody else holds ace king.
Right. So there's going to be 2 aces and 2 kings, so it's 4 combinations.
Right, 4 combinations, right? So that's how you do it, right? Like if somebody were, if it was ace king queen and somebody turned over ace king and somebody turned over, say, king 5, now there's only 1 king left, but there's still 2 aces left, right? So there'd be 2 combos of ace king. So here there are 9 combos of ace king. You have pocket queens. Now, yes, there's 3 combos of pocket aces and pocket kings because there's 6 total.
Yep.
3 combos of sets, but there's actually a lot of ace king here that's represented. Also, he could have, many other ace X types of hands here as well. So I think that at this stack depth, we just get it in. What did you do here?
Yeah. So I thought about that. So that makes a lot of sense. I thought that maybe I would let him, bet here in case he has a hand like jacks or tens or something like that with a gutter, and he might try and bluff. Or if he has a hand like ace queen, he's pretty much crushed. If he has a hand like ace jack or ace 10, pair plus gutter, we can easily get it in on the turn or the river. So,
by the way, how many combos of ace queen are there? It's another good one.
There's going to be just 3, I believe.
3,
there's
correct.
3 aces.
Yep.
And 1
three
queen left.
3 aces left and 1 queen left because you've got 2 of the queens in your hand. So you've got 3 combos of ace queen you're beating. You've got 9 combos of ace king, 12, and you're only losing to 6. I just really, really happily get it all in. You called?
Yeah, I called just to try and keep like a hand like jacks or tens in case they're gonna triple barrel on me, or if he happens to have ace jack or ace 10 and he turns 2 pair or something like that. He might stack off there too. But yeah, I definitely think it's fine to just rip it all into.
Well, I think that's definitely the play, is to rip it all in. So right now you only have like 260 left. You have less than a pot size bet left. What's the turn?
Yep.
What's the turn?
Yeah. So I end up calling, and the turn is a king of spades. So
this is where it gets interesting.
Not my favorite turn.
Okay.
Not my favorite turn.
Right.
So this is a pretty interesting spot. Now I'm losing to ace king, which is unfortunate.
Yep.
But of course he has a fewer combinations. So again, I go ahead and check.
Yep.
And like I kind of expect, he checks it back.
Okay. So check on a king. Pot is still 300, and now let's go to the river.
So this is another very exciting card. So it's the 10 of clubs. So the front door flush comes in.
Puts a one-liner out there to a jack, right?
Yep, exactly. And then if he ever has pocket tens, now he has tens full of kings.
Right.
But it also completes some of his king X that might have checked the turn. I don't know if he ever does it. But if he ever has like a king 10 suited, he gets there now. He's got a boat. Yeah,
I'm gonna throw that combo out though, because I don't want to confuse things, and it's very, very unlikely. So how many ace kings now are there on the board? How many ace kings is possible in his hand now?
Yeah, so there's 3 aces left and then 2 kings, so it's gonna be 3 times 2, so it should be 6 combinations. I believe.
So there's 6 combos of ace king, right?
Yep.
Obviously, there's 3 combos of pocket aces. That's 9, right?
Yep.
And there's 1 combo of pocket kings is 10,
kings.
right?
Yep.
So we're dealing with 10 here. So it's very interesting when a great portion of his range that you're beating here is ace king fills up on the turn. Now, you have about what did we say, 260 or something like that left in your stack. As we had said before, there's 3 combos of pocket aces, right? There is 6 combos of ace king. There's 1 combo of pocket kings. That's 10. And also king queen suited. And it looks like you'd have to look into your hand, but king queen of hearts is the one that's there.
One.
Right. So you've got
only one. Yep. So there's
right. So there are 11 combos, right, that beat you. Now, tens here, I mean, I guess it's possible, we might give them a partial, something like that. And then obviously you might get value here from jacks if they're all bet off. So let's say that we give them 4 of the 6 combos of jacks and maybe 1 of the 3 combos of tens. You're at like 5 combos that will call possibly here at the end, just call. I don't even know if tens is going to shove that you want to get value from. And there's actually quite a bit more, I would say, of combos that you're losing to here. So this is a little bit interesting. Now, if you want to go down the rabbit hole and say, well, he's so bad, ace X is going to call. But I don't really buy that he's ever going to have king X that ever checks behind that's unfull here. So that's why I'm not even considering king 10 or king jack. So I think you're actually losing to more hands that you're beating here.
Yeah, so there's a couple more hands that I thought about that he also could have here. So I think he could also have like ace jack suited, maybe. So he's got like what is that? 3 more combinations of that. He happens to have ace jack suited.
Right.
I think that gets us up to 9 combos. And then I thought maybe he might actually have some like middling suited connectors that he's 3-bet bluffing with. So a hand like 6-7 suited, 7-8 suited of clubs that saw the turn king and just sort of gave up, but now he might be enticed to call since he actually got there on the river, because it does bring in the front door flush. And then I also thought that maybe it's possible he could be 3-betting here with like a queen jack suited hand, where he just like auto c-bets the flop, and then he checks back the turn because he gives up. But now he actually gets there, so there's another combo.
Well, the only thing about those hands that's kind of interesting is I don't know if those hands are going to bet at the end. I don't know if jack X, which is a straight when the flush comes in, might not bet at the end. It might just go check. I think the tens full would bet. So yeah, sure. I mean, ace jack, and again, if you went to ace jack off, there's 3 aces left. I mean, there's 9 full combos of ace jack off, right? So it's really just a question of would those hands bet here at the end. I think this is actually kind of a tricky little spot because I don't like betting and then I get committed and then I'm going to have to call off, because I think if you go bet and the guy shoves and you call, you're just not going to be good, and you only have 260. Now you only have 260. Now, if we were to flip back to if we were playing, say, $1,000 deep, so let's say instead we were playing $1,000 deep, I think pre-flop is definitely the same. You call. On the flop, I would not think about check raising all that much. I think you start to get a little bit, you want to protect your stack, or let's imagine that we were 1,500 deep, actually, very deep, say 1,500, not 1,000. At that point, I think it's just a check call. I think on the turn, obviously it goes check. And now on the river, if you're deep and you're willing to say go bet fold, then you've got some leverage to get called by worse. And if he puts pressure on you, if you're capable of folding a full house, sometimes people won't find the full house button, you could probably do some betting. Now, people might say, well, that's unbalanced because he can just blow you off the hand by bluff raising you. Well, okay, yes, that's true. Okay, it's 2-5 at chasers. So, but I could probably see more betting here when deeper to get called by worse than to get pot stuck here when you're short if you've got 260 with the pot being 300. Because are you going to go 130 fold the full house for 130 more if he jams on you? So at this stack depth, it's really, really interesting here. I could see like a check evaluate if he were to jam. You're sort of in a quandary. I don't like to really fold strong hands at this level, but sometimes you can check and have a flush bet, like you said, something like that, and call like a modest bet or something. What did you end up doing?
I tanked here for a little while, actually. So I tanked here for like 2 or 3 minutes, just going through combinations in my head. And basically, it came down to asking myself, do I think he has ace jack offsuit here? And if he has ace jack offsuit, if I rip it here, is he going to call? And I basically said, I leveled myself and said, if he happens to have ace king or aces or kings, I mean, I guess he has it. I think if I check here, I'm just going to have to call off anyhow. So I might as well just try and rip it here and get that value against those jack X that I think are going to call.
Well, so to go along with what you were saying is that in order for what you're saying to be correct, you have to find enough combos that will call your shove than what you lose to. So if you think that there are more combos of hands that will call your shove than ones that will call and you lose to, then I can get on board with that, with a caveat of saying that you don't give him the opportunity to bluff if he ever has bluffs and he was just betting the flop and he just gave up on the turn, that he might bluff now. I find it probably a little bit hard to believe, but that's the whole thing. So maybe it's like a half combo, like maybe you can look at it like even, like if it's even, a dead even you shove, or something like that. So you ended up shoving?
Yeah, so I ended up shoving into him, and he does a double take of his cards, which is not a good sign. And then he says, yeah, call, and I table my queen.
And he has four kings or something?
Yeah, he shows me pocket kings.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting in the sense of what kind of sizing he would have took at the end, but it's a tricky one to do on the fly because so many of those hands like now beat you, but yet you can still get called by Jack X if for some reason he had flushes somehow here and, tens full. And it's very easy to check and call here at the end if all the hands that you beat are still betting for value. The problem here is that's not the case. And you go back and you revert back to live poker where people are going to call a lot more than they bet. So I want to get the hands to call me that are going to check back. But at the same time, it's a pretty scary board just for Jack X here too. Because if you bet on the river here, even 200, I don't know how often Jack X is going to call, although it is 2-5. Obviously at chasers. So it is definitely a tricky little hand. It might be optimistic coming up with the upfront shove because I think that you are giving him more hands than he might actually have. And if he doesn't have those ace jack off types of hands or anything like that, then I think
I should just
he's
check fold.
Probably well, it's like a check evaluate for sizing, right? Because I think it's if you check and he jams, you're looking at it and you're like, well, I don't think Jack X is just jamming here. Are flushes jamming? Probably not. So the only thing that's jamming that you beat here really is tens full. And then you've got all these other combos that beat you. So you could absolutely make a case that it might be a check fold if he jams at the end.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is I could easily just have, I think I'm going to be flatting my aces and kings and, ace king here too. I don't think I'm going to 4-bet those pre. I think I'm just going to call. So I think I would just, I have better hands to call with here, like bigger boats and quads. But
well, I don't know how many bigger boats you mean like king 10 or ace
yeah,
king
I
off?
could have king 10, king queen suited, yeah, or
well, those do better than a value range that jam, obviously, right? But I appreciate the call. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to this channel down below. And to get more live cash game, no limit training, head over to crushlivepoker.com and you can use the code YTA400 to get the first 30 days for free.